What's good, everyone? OJ here. Welcome back to another video. Today we've got some awesome information when it comes to Metroid Prime 4, Stellar Blade 1 and 2 potentially making the jump to the Nintendo Switch 2 and more. So let's go ahead and just jump right into it. We're going to start off with Metroid Prime 4 Beyond. We've got some updates on this game, and I think that some of them are pretty major overall. But let's just first start off with these environmental marketing that people were claiming Nintendo's not doing with this game. They're not posting about it. It's just a bike. Well, now they're showing off some brand new environments that you'll be able to traverse in Metroid Prime 4 that sets the tone, the style, and the atmosphere for what this game is all about. So I actually posted these screenshots on Twitter as well. Nintendo posted them up, and I thought it was fantastic. These look great. I love this molten lava area. Of course, we've got the desert that we know of where Samus can pop the wheelies. Then we've got the Viros jungle area that looks fantastic, and of course this snow area where you are going to be fighting against like a pack of rabid wolf monster thingies. So that's pretty cool. A lot of great stuff, environments, and different places to go, and I'm sure there's going to be a lot more that Nintendo does not want to spoil. Now, as a quick refresher, because this game is in demo kiosks, you can actually access it at GameStops, Best Buys, Walmarts, and Targets. It just depends, though. Not every single one of those will have it in every single store. So if it's not at one store that you go to normally, try a different store. I know my Target barely gets anything, and my Best Buy gets everything when it comes to the demos. And then also remember that some places are going to have big TVs to where you can play it and see the 4K 60, and other places are not. My Best Buy only has it in handheld and tabletop mode with a Pro controller, so that's how I played it, because I did get a chance to play the demo myself, and I did test out the performance and graphics modes between 1080p 60 frames per second and 720p 120 frames per second, and it was actually hard for me to tell the difference when I was playing, although I did play it mostly in the performance mode. Now, I did do a video as well breaking down all of my impressions and what I thought about Metroid Prime 4, from the boss battle that you play in the demo to the controls to pretty much everything. I ran it all down, so if you want to check that out, I'll have a link for you guys in the description. You guys can check out my video that I did upload recently on that. But yeah, check out the demo. It's at Best Buys, Targets, Walmarts, like I said. Try it out and see what you think. I think that if you play it, it's going to feel great to play, and you might want to pick it up if you're on the fence, because the gameplay, regardless of the Miles McKenzie controversy, the gameplay is going to be way too good to pass up, in my personal opinion, and I'm someone who's not the biggest on Metroid Prime. I like 2D Metroids a bit more, but Metroid Prime 4 is looking and feeling like it might be the best one out of all the games. Now, another thing with Metroid Prime 4 Beyond, guys, is watch out for spoilers. The game is apparently out in the wild. Some people might have it on the Nintendo Switch 1, probably, maybe a Nintendo Switch 2 version. I'm not really sure. I'm not going to be posting any images or anything for the fear of potentially something, you know, kind of being seen in the wrong way. So I'm not going to post anything, but just look out, guys. Look out for it on YouTube. Don't type in too many different things, because you might get spoilers and you might get problems with people, because they're looking for those views. So people are going to try to probably upload the whole thing coming up here. So we could see more leaks and more information. So just look out for people trying to spoil it, because we saw that all throughout the Nintendo Switch 1 generation, and it's been not as bad in the Switch 2 generation, because we don't have the emulation issues that we had with the Nintendo Switch 1 and dumping the cartridges and ROMs and all of that. That stuff just isn't a thing. Of course, game key cards, that's a problem with that as well. So it's not as bad with Switch 2 games, but any game that also comes to Switch 1, you're going to have that issue when it comes to early copies and ROM dumps and emulation and stuff like that. So just look out, guys, if you don't want to be spoiled. So what do you guys think about Metroid Prime 4 Beyond? You can let me know in the comment section. But before we get into the next topic, please make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if you are someone new, and click that notification bell to get my videos as soon as they drop. Let's get into what's happening with Stellar Blade from Shift Up. So it does seem like not only did we get information that Stellar Blade 1 could be coming to the Nintendo Switch 2 in addition to the Xbox series of systems, but it does seem like Stellar Blade 2 might be multi-platform from the beginning, which would be a very big change from how Stellar Blade 1 launched as a PlayStation 5 exclusive, then later coming over to the PC platform, and then seemingly coming over to Nintendo Switch 2 and Xbox Series maybe sometime in 2026. So let's talk a little bit more about this, because Korean developer ShiftUp is seemingly preparing the action-packed Stellar Blade 2 to be a multi-platform affair. MyNintendoNews and Insider Gaming is writing. Now, rather than it being tied to the PlayStation 5 like I talked about before, the news comes from Insider Gaming, who has looked at various recruitment posts for Stellar Blade 2, along with the developer stating that they want to bring it to more platforms than the original. Insider Gaming also states that the original Stellar Blade could eventually come to the Nintendo Switch 2 and the Xbox Series X/S. So let's talk about this just a bit more, because I played the original Stellar Blade on my base PlayStation 5, and it's a really good game. Some people like to equate it to Bayonetta, but it's not really like Bayonetta too much. I think it's more like a God of War Ragnarok combined with like Horizon, combined with like a Souls game. That's what it feels like to me a bit more, in terms of how you parry and strafe and counter and things like that. You're not doing the type of free-flowing, stylish action combos that you would see in Bayonetta, where you're just racking up a million hits on enemies and doing like a combo meter like Devil May Cry or something like that, or maybe even old school God of War. It's much more like the newer games that are a bit more grounded when it comes to the weight and feel of them. So that's kind of how Stellar Blade is. So if it does come to Nintendo Switch 2, I bought it day one on my PlayStation 5 and I thought it was great. Now, there was a PS5 Pro update that makes it even better, and I haven't checked that out, but I definitely want to probably go back to it once the sequel comes out. I'll probably go back to Stellar Blade, whether that's the Nintendo Switch 2 version, if there is one, or the original PlayStation 5 version, although now I can play it on my PlayStation 5 Pro when it comes to that. So I'm looking forward to seeing what they do. I think that ShiftUp obviously took that deal because I heard that they were having some issues with the game originally. Sony kind of swooped in to save them a bit, obviously offered some support when it comes to money, when it comes to other things, and I think that that was great for the game. But now that they kind of understand what's going on and they're looking at the market and how things have shifted, because compared to when Stellar Blade was being in development, compared to now at this point, having it on the Nintendo Switch 2, where Switch 2 is doing incredible in Asia, all of Asia, it's doing really good. I think that's obviously a good idea for the sales and long-term health of the company. And I'm not even sure if Sony would want to swoop in again and get Stellar Blade 2. It did well overall sales-wise, but a big chunk of sales were definitely from the PC platform. So I can see them absolutely self-publishing this one and probably selling millions of copies this time right there at launch, more than what they did on the PS5. Because I think people that liked it on the PS5 will buy it. You'll get some people on Xbox Series. You'll definitely get a chunk of people on Switch 2, and you'll get a lot of people on the PC platform, like we saw with Stellar Blade when it launched on PC. So I think that that's probably the best route for them to go going forward for the Stellar Blade IP, and of course them as a company with ShiftUp. So what do you guys think about Stellar Blade probably coming over to the Nintendo Switch 2, Xbox Series, as well as the sequel potentially coming over as well? Let me know in the comment section below. All right, next up, we're going to talk a little bit about what's happening with Kirby Air Riders. Now, I do think that this game is going to be interesting to see exactly how it does on the market. It's a $70 spin-off overall. It's not a mainline big 3D Kirby game. So some people felt that maybe it was a bit too pricey for what you're getting overall. Now, the game has came out, and the people that loved the game growing up back in the day, or if you played it with your friends, it's worth pretty much every single penny. I've put a little bit of time into it, so I can't sit there and say that it's worth everything at this point, but I can see when it comes to what I've watched and obviously the marketing, there is a ton of content packed in, and it's not like there's going to be any type of DLC like Sakurai's already stated. Now, they have some events that they're going to be running for about a year, but no major DLC or anything else. So all of the content is there ready to go overall for people to be able to play. And I really like that they did that with this game. They got a complete game out. It's there on cartridge. You can play it, pick it up, have fun in City Trial, the road trip mode. You have the regular air ride races and so much different stuff to unlock and collect and all of that. So I was wondering how this game was going to do. It seems like in the UK, not so good. Started out 12th overall, no digital included. But in the US, it seems like it's doing a lot better because the eShop charts are out for November 23rd, and Kirby Air Riders is right there at the top. And it's also great to see Tomb Raider Definitive Edition. I think that if you do games like that, discount it when it comes to 360 or PS4 older games, I think people will absolutely pick that up to have a portable version of that. Hyrule Warriors Age of Imprisonment also doing really good. And of course, Pokemon Legends ZA, Nintendo Switch 2 Edition, and Donkey Kong Bonanza round out the top 5. So we're starting to see Switch 2 getting some exclusives and more games built into the top games here. And Kirby Air Riders seems to be doing okay, at least at the launch. We'll see how the legs of this game last. But I do think that this game is going to have crazy word of mouth overall. Now, we also have to look over in Japan, because I think in Europe, Kirby's not going to do that great, but in Japan, it seems like the marketing and everything is in full go, because Stealth put up there saying Kirby Air Riders is being marketed in 30 plus stations in Japan. I'm expecting pretty big launch sales. That was from the Kirby Air Ride JP as well Twitter account. So that's pretty cool to see Kirby Air Riders all over the place. People are seeing this big pink puff ball everywhere, so they'll probably say, okay, Switch 2, maybe I can go get a lottery ticket so I can get my Nintendo Switch 2. But more Japanese gamers are able to buy. And Kirby overall, for the marketing, it's been way more popular with the views in the Japanese Nintendo pages and what's going on there than it has been here in the West. So I do think that it's going to have a big launch in Japan, relatively speaking to the Nintendo Switch 2 install base size. Also, if you look at it too, Kirby Air Riders #1 on the Japanese Amazon sales chart so far for physical. I'm pretty sure it's #1 on the eShop as well. So yeah, I think it's going to do pretty good in Japan, really good in Japan, just okay here in the US, and not so great in Europe. And that's okay. I think that this game probably wasn't a crazy super expensive game to make, and it's great to see people that have been waiting so long, 20 plus years, for this game to finally come out, some type of sequel or something, and they've got it at this point. So I'm happy for all the old school Kirby Air Riders fans, and of course new people that are playing it for the first time. I've been playing Hyrule Warriors Age of Imprisonment, so I haven't had as much time to play the game. But like I said, I did play the road trip mode in a live stream the other day, and I thought it was pretty fun overall, especially once you get the hang of the controls. So what do you guys think about Kirby Air Riders and kind of what's happening there with the game, in addition to everything else that we talked about? There was a lot of good stuff. Me personally, with the holidays coming up and with everything here, I'm really looking forward to seeing what people are going to be playing the most this holiday. I know that November, December, and even into January, a lot of times you can catch up on a lot of games. A lot of the best games have came out. Obviously, we have the Game Awards, and we have all sorts of stuff that's kind of happening in the industry before people go on break. And we can kind of just get a little bit of a break from all the news and all the announcements and all the stuff, and then retool and get ready for next year. Because man, next year, you thought this year was pretty good when it comes to stuff. I think next year is going to be wild with the announcements, not only from first party, from Nintendo, but also from third party. There's been some big hints that there's going to be some crazy third party announcements across the board. So I'm actually really excited just to be able to play games at the end of the year, get a little bit of time off, play some games, enjoy, family, friends, all of that good stuff, kind of retool, and then get ready, because it's going to be Nintendo Direct season. It's going to be a lot of big games like Resident Evil 9 coming out. There's going to be third-party stuff as well. The new 007 game is coming out. Grand Theft Auto at the end of the year. Nintendo Directs probably sometime between March and April of 2026. There's going to be the rumors that are starting up. There's going to be other controversial games. Pocopia is going to be launching. Mario Tennis is going to be launching. Fire Emblem's Fortune Weave. Yoshi the Mysterious Book. I mean, there's going to be a lot of stuff to discuss and talk about and have fun with. So I'm looking forward to all of that. But what do you guys think when it comes to everything here? Let me know in the comment section below. All right, guys, that wraps it up for this video here. Thank you so much for watching. I do appreciate it. Please make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if you're someone new, click that notification bell, and check out my other Nintendo Switch 2 RPG content and more right here on screen. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you guys for the next one. Peace.